Are we actually in a recession right now, or is there one coming? Now, this is a question that you should be asking yourself, and in this episode, I'm going to cover it. I'm also going to actually explain the difference between what you're seeing on the charts and what you're also hearing in the news. You're hearing things like cost of living is increasing. You're hearing things about inflation. You're hearing things about the energy crisis. You're probably experiencing it yourself. However, what you have to understand, what's happening on the charts versus what you're hearing online is a very different thing. And this is going to help you prepare. It's going to give you the clarity that you need so you can take advantage. Let's dive into the technical picture. Right guys, so as you can see, I have on my screen the DJI, S&P and BTC USD. I'm going to show you some important things here because what I'm seeing in the world right now is that people believe that we're in a recession right now. One thing you have to understand is this. When it comes to major players in the market, you've got to remember, if we were in a recession right now, who is that going to affect? It's not just going to be your average millionaire. You're talking about some powerful people in the markets that are going to be positioned correctly, well connected, and they're not just going to lose hundreds and hundreds of millions by not actually being aware of what's going to happen, which is why you're probably likely going to see an all-time high in the stock market before one actually sets in. So it's like, is there opportunities that you could take advantage of right now versus people that are burying their head in the sand, sitting there thinking, well, I just have to deal with it, this is what it is, and you don't take advantage of what's in front of you, let alone what there is to prepare. Whether their recession happens in a year from now, 2 years, or 3 years from now, there is a fundamental truth that you need to be prepared. You need to be doubling down on your skill set, creating more income, and being ready. Because the reality is, as you become more wealthy, the more money you've got readily available, you can make more money. There's a reason why they say the rich get richer. I never really understood that growing up because, of course, I didn't have any money. But as I acquired more wealth, I really understood the timing of just being liquid, the timing of just having money available to take advantage of opportunities. I'll give you the most simple example. Imagine you go into a Rolex store and you want to buy a Rolex. You might not even want the Rolex, but let's say, I don't know, a Daytona is available, a rare Daytona, green face Daytona, and it's available at list price. You've got 20 or 30K to buy that, knowing that you could sell it almost in 10 minutes later for about 60 or 70K. What's happened there? You've just got that cash available in your bank, and you can just make that shift straight away and almost do 100% on your money just from having the money available. If you have no savings and you don't have any income and you've not been working on a skill set that you can actually generate more cash flow, then how are you going to take advantage of it? So there was only in opportunities like that, watches, property, land, etc., that I started to really realize as I acquired more wealth, this is why. So then I went on this journey on making sure that I'm constantly increasing my income. I'm building an empire. I'm aware, but more so, the ones that really make a lot of money, they're just ready. And when other people are not ready, because they're over leveraged, got bad spending habits, they don't have capital available, when an opportunity comes, they just don't have the funds. And it's not normally a complex decision. Buying a Rolex or an AP at a discounted price or at a really great price that's a rare one that you just happen to be in the right place at the right time to buy it is not a complicated decision. It's actually very simple. But it's the one that's got the capital available is the one that makes the money. So you should be thinking about right now, how can I build more income? But right, without digressing too much on that, I want that to be a food for thought. Let's get into the technical picture. So as you can see here with the DJI, what I want you to understand is this. As I alluded to earlier, if the bigger players in the markets are going to get out at the highs, what's the chances that we create an all-time high before the recession actually fully kicks in? Because it's not right now. This is just the start of what we're seeing with energy prices and inflation. But let's just take a look at the monthly picture and look at the technicals. So as you can see here, let's just look at the reoccurring theme and pattern that happened every single time. When panic sets in, what do? We create, and I've explained this before on the S&P, we create this expanding. So what happens is we break an all-time high, which is what creates this double top, lots of panic in this area coming to the downside. But you've got to understand it happens on good news. So people are getting out at very valuable areas and then the market sells off. And it's in this part is when the panic sets in. Then what happens? It breaks the low, it holds and then recovers. Not only does it recover, it creates an all-time high. And it happens quicker than you think. Now let's go to the next part. What happens around 2020? We create an identical behavior pattern. Right, we create an all-time high, and then we break the low, as you can see, and then we recover and we create an all-time high. So what happens? We've got an all-time high, comes to the downside, comes back up, breaks it, creates a new all-time high. The bigger players, hundreds of millions, if not more, invested, they get out, and then guess what? The market sells off. People think that a recession is going to happen there and then. There's a lot of panic that spreads in. What does it do? It holds, it expands, same exact reoccurring theme, and then it recovers relatively quickly, and then creates a new all-time high. Now, if we look at it right now, does that look anything like it? Or if anything, does it look like the start of a move up to create the expanding, to come back down, to create a base that would break the low and then carry on? And it's in the midst of this move here, which was this move here, which was this move here, that will that actually be enough to break it and then carry on and then create an actual recession? Because it's not one right now. Do I believe one is coming? I do. But what if there's a chance that one never happens? I mean, we're in new territory at this point. I mean, there's a high chance one does happen, but you have to be open-minded to, if you're someone who thinks that we're in one right now, or it's inevitable that it's going to happen in a year, and you're set on this, yeah, but it must be 12 months from now, you kind of get into this very negative mind frame that you think all is lost, and you will blind yourself from even short-term opportunities that could make you a lot of money. So I just want you to be a bit more open-minded. Just because you're hearing doom and gloom online doesn't mean that's reflected in the charts. And if you actually look at the monthly here, let's actually just, even on a simple fib, from the high to the low, what have we got? 50%. Right, so we've recovered 50% already. And if you actually look from here to here, in a month, that's 15% the market recovered. And now if we just stretch that all the way to the top, it's only 30%. So that's only one more monthly candle to pretty much breaking an all-time high, which can happen in one more month. So you have to understand what you're seeing online versus what is happening in the price. Remember, traders trade the market. This is the actual reflection, and it's usually a lot more fast forward than what you're seeing in the news and media. So don't allow that to cloud your judgment and influence your emotions, because you need to be composed, cool, calm, and collected, and a game plan on how you can get wealthier, how you can fix your finances, and be clear on that. That's exactly what we teach. It's the reason why I go into detail of that. It's the reason why we've done the recession workshop, is to prepare people, not just financially, but mentally and emotionally, so they're ready to come out better off on the other side. So just a clear example as what the price is always doing. Price action leaves clues. And if you can learn from just what I just showed you, very simple, just on the monthly here, there is a high chance, as you can see here on the daily as well, that all this is price action coming back up to create a new all-time high. It'll break above, come back down, probably find a base, and it's whether in the sell of this, if it's enough momentum to break with conviction and then create a continuation, that would confirm, right, now there is a heavy chance that we're already 50% of the way through the recession, and we'll be hitting areas like this at 2020 lows. Now that will be a day in which that at these prices, there will be a lot of wealth to be made. But again, we could be 3 years away. We could be 5 years away. There is no point being in doom and gloom just because you've seen the increase of your day-to-day increase, like your electric bill, your gas bill, your petrol prices. There is no point burying your head in the sand when the thought process should be, right, I can't control this. This is what is happening in the world. How do I get richer? How do I get wealthier? How do I get more well-connected? How do I build a team? How am I in a community around other people that are doing the same thing? How can I protect my mindset when, you got to understand, mental health is at an all-time high in times of recession. People are more negative. There's actually a higher negative frequency just in your day-to-day of operation of what you do. Even when you just go into a local shop, there is negativity everywhere. So now more than ever, you've got to be in a like-minded circle. Otherwise, there's a high chance you're being influenced by these negative environments. So think about what they're seeing. Think about the average person that's never read Think or Grow Rich, hasn't read The Chimp Paradox, hasn't been well read in the slightest, been conditioned their whole life, and they're seeing all this stuff happen in the news. Their mental health will be at an all-time high, and it's a sad day for those people, and that's not something that I wish upon anyone, which is why I want to push this message more, that if more people can understand that you can be more in control of your life just by the way that you think, you'll be in a happier place to deal with these tough situations. I'm not saying people are not going through tough times, because they are. But you can't control what is happening in the world, and you can't control the increase of these prices. But what you can control, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? I want to empower more people to understand that you can take more charge of it, and being together in a community is more important than ever before, especially in times like this. So be prepared. The more prepared you are, the more chance you are to actually make that generational switch. So that is the DGI, nice and simple. S&P is pretty much the same reflection of that, which is why we've been looking to see if this holds here to create a new all-time high. And if you actually look at the recurring theme and pattern, that would make sense, because look at the difference previously. If I go weekly, look at the difference. We've got price expanding, right, where it breaks the low, as you can see here. Then we carry on. What have we got here? Same thing. Price expands, creates a new all-time high, comes back down, breaks the low. This is when they get people really caught off guard, and then guess what? It rallies. So what's the chances that we're going to create something similar, where we get an all-time high first before we come down? And it's this part here that I'm interested in, whether that carries the weight to cause this, or it holds and then carries on going. And that's going to be so fascinating. And the more prepared you are, the more chance you can get involved and actually take advantage of that. One way for you to take advantage is what I've got here. The last chart that I want to show you very briefly is BTC USD. It's almost like the DGI is leading its way, because if you actually look historically, that every single time the stock market's selling off, there is a high correlation of crypto selling off. Now, right now, not a lot of people are buying crypto. Why? Because they're in a state of panic and fear, and they don't actually understand what is happening here. If the DGI has a new all-time high, what do you think happens to BTC? BTC is looking at roughly, let's actually just measure, roughly will likely recover to about 50%, which is about 44k. It may even hit this little area of value here and spike towards 48. I don't think it'll be a new all-time high, but there's a high chance there. So suddenly you look at that, is this a bad value area? What people are doing is they're putting things on like this area and going, BTC has to retest this high, it's definitely going to go lower. So they're not buying anymore, which creates this consolidation. But you're basically saying that you now know the market, that the market has to pull back, create a continuation, and then come back down here. And that's only when you would buy. Why does DCA actually exist? Why does dollar cost averaging exist? It's because no one can know an exact price. That is the whole point. So don't be caught up into that mindset thinking, yeah, but I just think it's going to go lower. What does that even mean? How arrogant can you think that it's going to go lower? It's about just look at the charts independently, separate your emotions from what you see online, and just trade the market, because traders trade the market. I've said this for 6 years, and people try to correlate too many things as to what they're seeing externally versus what is happening here on the charts. And this will be much healthier for your mindset in the first place. But what it looks like to me is this. If I just go off the charts, it looks as if the DGI is leading its way. And if we're going to get a new all-time high, then there's a high chance that we are going to get a run on BTC and pull up a lot higher. If it's to these sort of areas, that can be a good area for profit taking. It's personally what I would personally be doing. It's entirely up to you what you want to do, but in the run of that we may see the alts go as well. We can see some price increases on things like XRP, ADA, Ethereum, of course, and many more. So it's just about being ready for that rather than just being caught off guard. Because if you're someone right now that has crypto or has these assets and thinks, I'm in a recession right now, you're in a doom and gloom mindset, right? And you might be thinking, oh, well, I'm just going to hold for 5 years. Again, you've got more. Take advantage of your advantage. There is information on how to trade the markets. There's information on how to look at value areas. And if you're unsure on that, get educated. Whether it's through us or someone else, be around people where you have the right education. Now you start to understand the value of having the right knowledge to be able to execute. Otherwise, you're shooting in the dark sitting there on your own. You need a circle, people. Seriously. I don't know why this is complicated for people to understand. It's something that you need. This lone wolf mentality by yourself, it's just arrogance, and it's not going to help you. What's going to help you is having the right people around you through the good times and the tough times, especially the tough times where your character is tested the most. So let's see how it plays out. Food for thought. I wanted to just give a bit of a take on that from the technical picture and really just push the message of disconnecting your mind from what you're seeing externally versus what is happening on the charts. Because a lot of the time, people do this in foreign currency as well. When they're trading the markets, they look on Forex Factory or Daily FX or everywhere they want to look, and what they'll do is they'll try and price too many things in. They're looking at fundamental pictures where they're not understanding that the price is the price, right? And traders trade the market. And if you actually look at the technical picture and just trade that, you'll probably be way more successful than trying to price all of these things in. What you think is going to happen economically versus what you're seeing on the charts is a very different thing. For example, if you talk to the average person, they'll just tell you, oh, the pound's collapsed. The pound's terrible. The pound is at an extreme value area that loads of investors will be buying, which is exactly what we're seeing. The pound is at a great point. Pound dollar is a great point for us to be looking for long plays, where if you ask the average person on the street, they'll think the whole world is ending. They don't understand, and it's a disconnect there. So you have to disconnect yourself from your day-to-day, because that is what is getting into your subconscious mind. So just a reminder, you're a trader, take advantage of your advantage.